Bhasmasura was a devotee of Shiva, performing severe penance for years in the Himalayas, sitting motionless in meditation, enduring heat and cold and hunger with a single-mindedness that impressed even the gods. Shiva appeared before him, moved by this devotion. "Ask for whatever you wish," he said. "It shall be granted." Bhasmasura thought for a moment. Then he asked for the power to reduce to ashes, instantly, completely, any living being whose head he touched with his hand. Shiva granted it. The moment the words left Shiva's mouth, Bhasmasura let out a laugh, the kind of laugh that tells you everything about what comes next, and looked at his own hands with an expression of pure delight. "Now," he said, "I am more powerful than anyone, more powerful even than you." And he began moving towards Shiva, hand outstretched, to test his new boon on the one who gave it. Shiva, who had just granted an invincible power to a demon who was now attempting to use it on him, turned and ran. The destroyer of the universe, running through the forests and mountains, chased by his own devotee, whose hand he had himself made lethal. He ran all the way to the abode of Vishnu and arrived breathless with a problem that was, it must be said, entirely of his own making. Vishnu listened to the whole story with the expression of someone who is very carefully not saying what he is thinking. Then he smiled and disappeared. Bhasmasura was still chasing Shiva through the mountains when he came around a bend in the path and stopped completely. Standing before him was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Luminous, graceful, with eyes that made him forget entirely what he had been doing for the last several hours. He stared at her for a long moment, and then forgot entirely about Shiva. He asked her to marry him. Mohini laughed softly. "I will only marry a man who can match me move for move in dance," she said. "Can you do that?" Bhasmasura, who had been pursuing a god with murderous intent moments before, agreed immediately that yes, dancing was exactly what the moment called for. And so they danced, for hours, then days, Mohini leading, Bhasmasura following, move for move, completely absorbed, the chase entirely forgotten. Until Mohini raised her arm gracefully above her head and placed her hand on the top of her own head. Bhasmasura, deep in the rhythm of the dance, mirrored her movement without a moment's thought. The boon worked exactly as promised. Instantly, completely, Bhasmasura was ash. The Puranas tell us that Mohini looked at the ash, smiled, and disappeared. And in her place stood Vishnu, who looked at Shiva and said nothing at all, which was the most eloquent thing anyone could have said in that moment. There is a phrase in Sanskrit that comes from this story, Bhasmasura's boon, used to describe any power or advantage that turns against the one who holds it. The weapon pointed outward, that somehow finds its way back to the hand that holds it. We see it everywhere. The sharp tongue that wounds the relationships it most needs. The need to win every argument that incinerates the very ground we wanted to stand on. The pride that refuses help until the situation is beyond help. The fear of being seen as weak that makes the weakness visible to everyone. Bhasmasura did not destroy himself because he was stupid. He destroyed himself because he was so completely absorbed in the power he had been given that he stopped thinking about where his hand was going. I'll leave you with one question today. What power in your life are you holding so tightly that you have stopped noticing where it is pointing? This has been The Long Thread. Ancient stories for the present moment. If this story stayed with you, follow the long thread and wake up to a new one tomorrow.